I finally found out who SA'd me. It was my brother all along. Me and my brother, whose name is Paul, have always been really close. I'm 18 and he is 23, but even with the age gap it's always been us. We'd never get called separately, it'd always be, go get the kids, or the kids want to do this, they want to do that. We were always together, even when I was a baby. He's my best friend, and I'd die for him. I say that so you don't think I just hate him, or I'm saying this just to say it. But on Saturday, he invited me to hang out with a couple of his friends. My 18th was Friday, and he's always wanted to be the one to take me to my first bar. We went out at around 7 p.m, and right when we got there they crowded me into a booth and we started drinking. I don't remember how much I had, and I don't remember when we left, but I know about 30 minutes in, things started to feel off. I was only on my first pint, but it felt like I did so much more and I've drank before, so I know how I should be responding by now, and I was definitely more drunk than I'd usually be. We left sometime after, and I know I was brought back home somehow. I can remember being helped up the porch steps. I don't remember anything else until I woke up the next day, and it felt like I'd been hit by a bus. I spent the entire morning on the toilet, and it was almost impossible to walk. It hurt so badly. It wasn't until evening when I could leave my room. I asked my brother what had happened last night, and he said we'd been at the pub then went home. I pressed him for more and he got snippy, saying I shouldn't have gotten plastered if I wanted every detail. I told him I couldn't remember shit, and he said it was my fault, and not his problem. I don't know why he was so agitated. We usually go on stellar with each other. But he left soon after and didn't talk to me the rest of the day. On Tuesday I realized I had bruises. I was showering, and they either hadn't formed last time or I didn't notice them, but this was the first time I'd seen them. They were on my wrists, hips, and the side of my neck, and I wouldn't have jumped to the conclusion I'd slept with someone that night if there weren't hickeys. They're on my thighs and around my stomach. There's no doubt what they are. Naturally I freaked out. I thought about telling my mom, but she didn't want me to go out with my brother that night in the first place, so I didn't want her to get upset with me. I went to my brother instead. I told him about the bruises, and he was going to kick me out of his room again. Then I told him about the hickeys and he immediately changed his mind. He seemed like he was hiding something, he got nervous, and asked to see. I showed him the ones I could, and he agreed after some hesitancy on what they were. I asked him what happened Saturday night again, and he blew up. He yelled to stop asking about that night, and said this had nothing to do with the pub and I'd probably gone out and done it myself after he got me home. He told me not to tell mom about the bruises, and to stop treating him like he knew something, and to get out of his room. So I left and I told my mom. She didn't have much of a reaction. She didn't even seem surprised. She told me she was going to take my brother out on a drive and to stay home, they'd be back soon. They stayed out so late I fell asleep. I only saw my mom again in the morning. She woke me up and told me she loved me, she'd never let anyone hurt me, and she was sorry. I still don't know what she was apologizing for. I went to school, things were normal, but I didn't see my brother all day, and didn't know if things were normal or I had got him in trouble. I sat my mom and brother down this morning and told them that I know they know something I don't. I wanted to know what happened that night. My mom started crying. She never cries. She yelled that my brother had to tell me before storming off to her room and slamming the door. I immediately asked my brother what she meant, and he got very nervous and accusatory. He said that this was all my fault, and mom's upset because I had fucked up that night, and I should be thankful because my brother picked up the pieces like he always does. My family never acts like this. Definitely not my brother. I was so confused and I pressed him further. Then he started to tell me what happened. He said that my drink was spiked and I went to the toilets to puke. I was there for a while, and when he went to find me he said that, in way more vulgar terms, there was a bloke trying to get his way with me. He said he took me home and that was that. I told him I didn't believe him. Only he and his friends ever had access to my drinks, and there's no way that what happened to me could have been done in a pub toilet. The evidence doesn't match that. I started to cry, and I told him I just wanted the truth. He said that he told me the truth, and I could either take it or leave it. I'm not happy with myself for this, but I told him I hated him. He was supposed to be my best friend and he was lying about something like this for no reason. I'm definitely not happy with myself for this either, but I asked him if he was lying because it was one of his friends. He called me crazy, and said I didn't know what I was talking about. So I asked him if he did anything. I wanted to throw up just saying the words. That made him start to scream. He said I was an idiot, and how dare I accuse him of that. He said he would kick my fucking teeth in if I ever even suggested something like that again. He said if I wanted to sleep with him that bad I could just say that. I couldn't handle him saying that, so I left. I went to my room and locked the door. A few hours on and I got a text from an unknown number. It said it was one of my brother's friends, he knew about the fight, and he wanted to come clean with what he knew, so I needed to call him. I did. And I really wish I hadn't. He started by saying he had no idea what had happened until my brother told him this morning, or else he would have told me sooner. My drink had been spiked by my brother. Apparently his friends just thought I was a lightweight, so they weren't concerned when I seemed to be getting drunker faster than them. We all got a taxi home, and the rest of what he knows is just what my brother told him. I'm just going to copy-paste the text because I don't think I could rewrite what he said without vomiting. So yeah, we had you guys drop off first and went home. Paul said he could take care of you himself, so we didn't really think we had to stick around, but in hindsight I really wish we had. I asked him if you were feeling alright Sunday and he said yeah, everything's cool, you were just a little hungover. But yeah, he messaged me after you guys had your argument and told me what really happened. Are you sure you want to know? Paul said he had sex with you and he claimed to be insanely plastered, but he seemed the most clear-headed out of all of us that night. He said you didn't care what was happening, so he thought it was alright, but that just seems sick in my mind. I'm sorry no one told you sooner. I don't think Shane knows what happened, but Paul should have told you. I don't know if that's normal for you guys, but either way it just seemed wrong because you were obviously drunk. Like losing consciousness from time to time. He said he gave you something else when you guys got home, but he didn't tell me and I didn't ask. I haven't been able to do anything but just stare at the screen. I haven't left my room. I've been sick 3 times already. Whenever I hear my brother going down the hall I just feel so much dread. I don't know what to do. I don't know how he could have done this to me. I'm his fucking sister, we were supposed to be best friends. I trusted him, and I still do, but I just don't know anymore. I'm so torn between what to feel about him. He's my family, but I hate what he's done. I don't think I could ever forgive him. I haven't been able to leave. I don't know if I should tell my mom because I think she already knows. I'm at such a loss. My family loves each other. We've always been insanely close. I just don't know what to do. On one hand I really do want to believe he was just drunk and didn't know what he was doing, but I just don't know. I'm going to talk to my brother tomorrow, show him the text from his friend and see if he'll just admit it. I'm going to the hospital soon, too, just in case there's anything that can still be done in that regard. People said to tell his girlfriend. I'll figure out a way to reach her. I don't think he really loves her anyways. If anyone wants any other updates I will give them, but if not this is where the stories end for now. It's late. I'm tired. I regret ever posting here. I just found out my fiancé has been roping me in my sleep. My fiancé and I have been together for almost 3 years. While we've had our fair share of problems, we've never had issues to this extent. To give some context, I'm the sole breadwinner. I work from home, but my fiancé takes care of our baby while I do so. My fiancé does not drink alcohol, and this was due to a previous situation where he blacked out and wrecked my apartment, but I do drink. He stopped drinking on his own accord, and has never acted like that since. I like to have some beers after work, and especially on the weekends. I ended up starting to drink liquor in place of beer, which I now know is fucking stupid, just because of my stressful days. I'm a software engineer. When I started this, on the weekends, I would get too drunk. Almost always. I take full blame for that, but every Friday night, without fail, I'd end up too drunk, smoking some weed, and off to bed I went. I was never sick or anything, but just a shot was too much for me. And so I just go to bed. This is why I blame myself. After a few weeks of switching to liquor, I'd wake up, not hungover or anything, just a normal wake up, and my fiancé would ask me crude questions, jokingly, like how is your asshole today? The first time he asked me this, I laughed and went you are not serious and he laughed too. Then we'd go about our day. But this happened quite a few times after. He'd always ask the morning after how's your asshole? Or how's your pussy? Always weird but I chalked it up to him just being a bit sour that I was drinking, since he does not. Eventually the question became do you remember me fucking you last night? And again, he said it jokingly. I never realized he was actually serious. This has happened maybe 20 times now. We have been having issues with our baby's sleep schedule. We take turns, as of lately, to get up with the baby when she wakes up early. She usually wakes up between 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., and it's been killing us. I stopped drinking liquor a few months ago because of the shitty hangovers and me being dead asleep. I have since switched back to beer and White Claws. Well, today was his day to wake up with the baby. I had 3 White Claws last night, over the course of maybe 4 hours, but I wasn't drunk. So, he did wake up with her, and a few hours later, still before I needed to be up for work, he came to lay her back down for a nap. I briefly woke up and acknowledged them. She sleeps in our room, and went back to sleep. The next thing I know, our room, which is pitch black due to our curtains, is lighting up sporadically. I see it under my eyelids. Eventually my eyes shoot open, and I realize that my fiancé is in bed with me, just laying the opposite way. I figured he was taking a nap too, maybe on his phone, so I repositioned and got comfy. But then the flashes of light continued. After a minute, I realized, while I was laying on my side, in a nightgown, with my legs spread a bit, that he was laying on the opposite end of the bed, under the covers, taking pictures in between my legs. When I realized this, I kinda froze. I thought maybe he was doing it as a joke. So I held still, and waited. But he kept going. Then I felt him jerking off in bed next to me a moment later. The flash must have gone off a good 15 times. To give a bit more context, I have never once known this man to jack off. Ever. Never once. Never before SX, nothing. And I know what you're all thinking, but no, he doesn't do it in private. He doesn't. I always thought it was a bit strange, but whatever. Finally he got up, left, and a little while later I woke up and went downstairs to say hi. After a few minutes, he goes how's your asshole? And I couldn't help it, but my laugh was really nervous. I'm assuming he caught on to that, and goes you know I was jerking it to you, right? Because you wouldn't give it up last night? I truly didn't know how to respond. After a few seconds I just kinda laughed and went no way, but he was serious. He then hit his phone for a second, I'm assuming deleted some shit, then showed me the pictures he took in between my legs while I was sleeping. I was shocked. I didn't know how he'd react if I just started outright calling him a creep, so I told him that I looked gross, and to delete them. He wouldn't. So now here I am. I had to call out of work today because I feel physically sick. All those times he told me he had sex with me, I do not remember. I was already asleep. And like I mentioned, I thought he was kidding. But once I started piecing things together, like a piece of a corner wrapper of a condom being in the bed. Clean up towels. Things like that confirmed he did indeed have sex with me while I was passed out. I'm starting to think the only reason he's been honest about it is because he thinks I might remember. The only time I ever have was this morning, which scares me even more, but here I am. I know what I need to do, but I don't at the same time. I'm sick. I feel gross. I feel weird. I feel used? I didn't want to think of this as rope. Hell, I still don't. But at the same time, I had no fucking idea this was even happening. I'm very angry, not necessarily with him, but at myself for letting this happen. What about my daughter? What the fuck? I'm terrified for her. He's taking a nap now. I don't know how to get him out of my house without calling the cops. So I guess that's exactly what I need to do. Wish me luck, my whole being is broken right now. I'm putting my disabled 7-year-old into a residential facility so I can forget he exists. I'm not sorry. I'm a single mom of 2 boys. 12 and 7. My husband passed away 3 years ago in a work accident. A very large portion of me believe it was a sewer slide. I can't see him ever making the mistake he made that caused his death, and he had taken an action just before that which ensured his co-workers weren't in the room. I fully believe he unalived himself because of our younger son, and no one will ever change my mind. We were told when I was pregnant that he would have Down syndrome. We could handle that. Even if it was severe. It turned out he had a chromosome deletion. His disorder is kind of rare, so I won't post which specific one, but suffice to say he'll never be anything more than he is now or has ever been. And what he is nothing. He doesn't appear to have any awareness and never has. His eyes are locked in one position. He doesn't respond to noise, touch, or pain. He is total care. He is capable of nothing. He is tube-fed and on oxygen. He is in diapers and will be forever. He makes no sounds, no attempts to communicate. He never even really cried as a baby. He has never made an attempt to interact with anyone or his environment. I'm not upset because I have a special needs/imperfect child. I feel the way I feel because this thing takes up 200% of my time and does nothing. I didn't get an imperfect child. I didn't have a child. I don't love him. He doesn't have any personality, there is nothing to love. And yet I'm responsible for him. In addition to his extreme delays, he's also medically fragile. Respiratory crises, fecal impactions, his autonomic nervous system doesn't function properly, issues with his G-tube, infections, pressure sores no matter what we put him on or how we position him. Our older son has suffered because his non-existent brother has colored everything in his life. He's had medical care get delayed because there's only one of me and his brother is more critical. We do have a visiting home nurse but only 20 hours a week and we aren't eligible for more. I was starting law school, I gave up my dreams and my plan for my children for this potato. My older son can't do a lot of things he wants to do because of the younger's need for care and appointments. The final straw was I heard a sound. I went into younger son's room to check, thinking he had forgotten how to breathe again, and saw older son hitting him and screaming, "You're why I don't have a mother. You're why I don't have a father. You're why I can't have friends over. You're why I can't be in sports. I didn't ask for you and I hope you die." Instead of being horrified, I watched. And younger son just did not react. No signs of pain or fear or upset. No reaction at all. He breathes but he is not alive. He doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know who older son is. He has no sense of self, life experience, or awareness of his surroundings. He doesn't need to be in my home. He doesn't know or care where he is. He is genetically my son but he is not family. My previously abused, brain-damaged cat who can't walk straight has more personality and is far more lovable than my child. In fact, I was looking forward to raising a Downs baby. Even one with severe impairments, for that reason. With disability can come gifts. This boy is not a gift. He is a genetic mistake I probably should have miscarried and would have definitely terminated if I'd known he would be like this. And the flip side is, if he has awareness, he's miserable, and there is nothing I can do. If he has likes and dislikes, no one knows what they are. If he is in pain, he can't tell anyone. If he wants anything, he can't communicate. He's had every imaginable therapy, nothing has made a difference. And so he's leaving our home on the 29th. I feel excited and relieved and then guilty because I know we'll be happier with him gone. He's already taken my husband and my son's father. He was working so much overtime to pay for the cucumber's care. For the experimental therapies insurance wouldn't cover. Because this one was going to be the breakthrough. He was tired and defeated and disappointed. He sought counseling as well, but I don't think he could ever say the words "I don't want my son in my home" either. He's ruined my older son. I was so wrapped up in the younger I never realized how ignored and damaged he was. He lost his father too. I didn't just lose my husband. He is my priority now and this malignant lump can be someone else's problem. At least they'll be paid a wage to care for him. At least they'll get a break from him when they punch out. I just want to never think of him again and I'm not sorry. And for that, I'm sorry.